Travis Wayne Goodsell. This is an intermission Book of Mormon channel video. If you're brand new and you're like, what? Before conference, I ended doing my regular videos that I've been doing since 2017 to warn Mormons about the threat to them by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I've been exposing all the conspiracies and the lies and the deceptions and the crimes and covering anything that pops up in the church news. And this channel now has over 3.1k videos. And in the news yesterday, the local news have been reporting that the Jewish synagogues here in Salt Lake were given threats, bomb threats, terrorist threats, as a result of Netanyahu declaring war against Hamas for their attack in Gaza over the weekend. And so there's some background history that if you'd been paying attention to my videos, you'd know. And if you were to put them all together, you'd know what I know. The church has failed to get hitmen to do plan A, B. They're now on C. And as I told you in the previous video, I'm now watching 24, in which the first season, plan A failed, plan B failed, they're on plan C. I am inspired as to what to watch. It's hilarious. And so, as this Friday is Friday the 13th, and the 14th is the big biblical prophecy sign in the heavens. And since I'm the only one who knows about it, you'd have to be watching my videos to know and understand better about what it's all about. But it's not a coincidence that it's Passover, Utah, from 10:24 to 10:35 a.m. In the Joseph Smith history, Joseph Smith adds to the prophecy of the latter days from Malachi. For they that come shall burn them. And then he also adds, the whole earth would be utterly wasted at his coming. It's referring to the day that shall burn as an oven, the abomination of desolation. And I've told you that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has paid the Judas price for it. And like I told you, they're on plan C. They're having trouble hiring hitmen. But they have been accomplishing other things in preparation for other plans, if need be. Roe v. Wade being overturned was one of them. In Doctrine and Covenants, section 101, verse 51, Joseph Smith gives a parable prophecy of the latter days and says, "The enemy came by night, broke down the hedge, and the servants of the noblemen arose and were affrighted and fled." Church manuals say that's the Mormons. But then, who are the ones, as we continue here, and the enemy destroyed their works and broke down the olive trees? Who are the 12 olive trees? The 12 tribes of the house of Israel. And who are the 12 tribes of the house of Israel? Section 103, verse 17. "For ye are the children of Israel, and of the seed of Abraham." Section 101's parable prophecy is referred to in a scripture that Brigham Young refused to publish, even when he allowed others to finally get published the year before he died, like section 85 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Not section 132, though. That's a forged document. The date was 19 July 1840, where he talks about the enemy and expands about the latter-day prophecies about the Constitution, which Mormon myth said it would hang by a thread. It'd be upon the brink of ruin from the source document. And so, yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints overthrew the Constitution of the 14th Amendment, Section 1, that women have rights, not a fetus, because you have to be born to be a citizen to get rights. And so the church was directly responsible through the Council for National Policy in overthrowing Roe v. Wade, compromising our Supreme Court justices, getting them put in, too. The church is the enemy. And Joseph Smith goes on to say who the enemy would be. And he gives a parable explanation using the Last Supper. Brigham Young is that enemy, is that Judas. His church, which he usurped from Joseph Smith upon his murder, turned it into Christian. And now all Mormons despise Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon as Jewish, despite leaving it in the Book of Mormon, but doing some changes with Joseph Smith's words. And so, it's unclear yet as to who made the threats, whether it was Mormons or whether it was any of the Islamic refugees brought to Utah, as there's been news about complaining of Utah being a sanctuary state. They're hardcore alt-right MAGA here in Utah. But because of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the church has been causing some controversies, even though they too are the same as the Mormons, forcing the government to do what they do, to be as they are. The reason why we are a sanctuary state has to go back to President Gordon B. Hinckley, in which, at a private meeting, he announced a prophecy, as they interpreted it, because he's a prophet. Everything he says must be a prophecy, in which Mexicans would overpopulate white Mormons in Utah. And so we needed to be prepared. And so thus the government, getting the leaked information, opened Utah's doors for refugees for that purpose. And there have been some controversies, as Mormons are upset that we're taking in Mexican refugees and the church is providing them with basic necessities from the bishop's storehouse when they don't have jobs, and we need to go round them up at the border, send them back. Because remember, alt-right MAGA here in Utah. You have to understand the church's influence on the way things are run here in Utah. But last year, the church began a "We Are the Same as Islam" campaign, published a pamphlet about how we share the same standards and values of polygamy and child bride marriages. And death to America. And so we were taking in Islamists from the various countries, specifically Afghanistan, most recently. And of course, they are doing fairly well. I notice as I see them when I go out shopping, that they seem to have modern conveniences. So they're getting funding from someone, whether it's the government or donations. But we have the situation here where Jews are now at war with Palestinians. And as Palestinians are Islamists, even though they're a different nationality, they're still of the same religion. Though it has variations, they have a united hatred towards the Jews. And so it's still unclear as to who threatened the synagogues here in Salt Lake. But do you see where we're going with Joseph Smith? Do you see where we're going with the enemy who paid the Judas price do you now see the potential for Plan C? And if you're still not thinking that the church is Jewish, and if you think that the Islamists who come here and get a Book of Mormon, whether it has to be in their language or if they can read English, they're going to come across 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 2. And it won't matter what the church says publicly, that they're Christian, they're not Jewish, and that they've replaced Joseph Smith as a Christian. The Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. They're going to read Jewish. And so there's a Mormon myth about Benjamin Franklin Johnson, who was confronted by a hooligan by rifle or pistol point to denounce the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he stood strong in the faith and would not denounce the church. And the pistol rifle misfired. And he had never gone against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. To teach Mormons not to betray the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Well, there's some stuff that they don't tell us about, and you have to know the bigger picture. He was converted to the church. This is true. But it was called the Church of Latter-day Saints when he joined. It was not called the Church of Jesus Christ under Joseph Smith. He then took his family in 1838 and moved to the Mormon town of Abomination. And upon moving there, he was arrested. And it was one of the residents who stuck the pistol rifle in his face and told him to denounce the Church of Latter-day Saints. And he did. And he joined the Danites, because Abomination was the secret headquarters of the Danites. The counter-secret combination that overthrew Joseph Smith and had him murdered. As Benjamin Franklin Johnson would go on to assist them in the Mormon War that framed Joseph Smith and got him locked up in Liberty Jail, and Brigham Young couped the church to become the president of the 12. The same pattern of events that occurred in 1838 are the same pattern of events that we are experiencing here in the latter days. Election fraud, coup, bank fraud. You've been paying attention to the numbers of the stock market and the U.S. debt? And so Mormons, I can foresee, if Islamists go further than just making threats, if it's them, not Mormons, trying to frame Islamists, that Mormons will be faced with the Islamist enemy burning down the whole valley in retaliation for their support of Israel. And they will be asked, "Are you a Mormon?" Will you denounce the Book of Mormon in the learning of the Jews? Will you denounce Joseph Smith in the learning of the Jews? Or will you be ashamed, as you already are, and not lose your faith and testimony in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? See, Islamists get 72 child bride virgins if they die in a holy war. Mormons only get 10. So we'll see. I was sure that it was going to be Christians who get upset that Mormons are actually Jewish. But apparently maybe that was one of the plans, and that also failed. Prophecy will be fulfilled because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints paid for it to be fulfilled.